Michael. Oh, here in the middle. Yeah. Pick your mic. Okay, so first of all, thanks a lot for joining us. I know you're quite busy guy. So you have two positions. Explain us a little bit how you divide your time between these two positions.
Well, first of all, I don't divide my time. I don't count hours. I think it's a matter of going where the priorities are. I think there's one job which is pretty mapped out, which is being the head of marketing for a division at Danone. It means helping the division go further. It means helping the brands that are not doing so well or boosting the ones that do well. And then the digital is completely, it's a blank page, obviously. We're trying to build a vision for the entire group. We're trying to engage people to change not only their tools, their processes, but also their mindset. And I think that's far less easy to put in a schedule like that.
So how did you end up being in charge of digital? You're a marketer from background, so explain your story.
It's very funny that you say that because roughly a year ago, I told my son, Julian, who's 12 years old, hey, you know, Julian, Dad is going to be leading digital for Danone. And his response was immediate. He burst out laughing. And he said, Daddy, are they aware? And I said, aware of what, Julian? He said, aware that you and your computer are not exactly friends. Then he said, well, that you and your iPhone are not exactly friends either. And so it made me think, actually, because, of course, I felt ridiculous at that moment. And I realized that heading digital had very little to do with technology, in fact. I'm not a technology expert. Maybe I'll become one at some point, and he'll be proud of me. But I had to tell him that, in fact, what was important about that is that, as any company, Danone has silos. I mean, any big corporation has silos by brand, by division, by region, by function. And I think digital, as a matter of fact, is transversal. So silos and transversal do not work hand in hand together. And so the whole job of heading digital is actually trying to push the lines to create something that gathers people regardless of their function, so that they actually work on what's at the center of that, which is data and the whole digital ecosystem. So I guess that's what my job. How did I end up being that? I guess it's because I worked on some digital projects on Aidan, and so people thought naturally that I would.
Yeah, and so you were quite good at Aidan. You know, in the startup world, we often hear and say, like, once you're lucky, twice you're good. I think now with your babies campaigns, it's not only once or twice. I think the third time you're having a success with a video.
I'll ask you to repeat that for my mother on the phone after backstage. But I don't think it's about being good, by the way. I think it's about daring to do things that others don't. That's one thing. I think it's about also surrounding yourself with talents. I mean, I've had the chance of working with Rémi Babinet and his team at BETC. I've worked with a few experts internally, Alexis Tobelem, Benoît Raden. I mean, all these people are talents. And when you have talents in front of you and you give them the key, well, you're getting things that maybe you didn't even expect yourself. And I think the other thing is to be on the working mode has very much been of a trial and error mode. I mean, we do something, we think, and we redo. And many times people go think, do, and think. Well, the fact of the matter, when you do think, you do it twice already, so that's a good improvement.
Okay, so in 2013 we saw this new video, Baby and Me. What else coming from Aidan could have been missed? What were the main achievements that you did on the digital side for Aidan?
Well, there's Aidan, and I could tell you about the app, which we did not expect to be that successful and became an issue technologically speaking. But I could tell you also of other brands. I mean, we're doing a big program in Danone Dairy in Europe, which deals with a mobile application for frequent consumers and everything. But you know, I really think on this topic the best is yet to come, because mindsets are starting to change. Seeing a few examples that succeed gives inspiration to the others. So I won't dwell on these examples, but I think there'll be many more to come.
Perhaps one that I find interesting also because I know Alexis was working on it, like how you think curation on the web, part of how you want to use curation as a tool for your brand. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, well, we thought that originally what we were doing when we were doing digital on a brand was doing a nice Facebook fan page and doing a nice hub. It was like, I'm tidying up the room. My room is clean, it's nice. People can now come and visit and play. And then we learned about advertising and pushing that from banners to the big YouTube plans that we built on roller babies and other things we did afterwards. And then it became, how do we add content? I mean, clearly what worked on the roller babies and other things was that it was not advertising anymore. It was giving a moment of entertainment that, yes, advertises the brand in long term, but it's a moment that people like, a moment that people share, a moment that journalists talk about. And for that reason, it becomes successful. So if we build on that, how can we create contents not every other year, but every month, every day? And we decided to create that sort of content factory and do curation and develop things. Now, is that successful? To be honest, the jury is out at this moment, but I think we're trying something new. And I think eventually, probably many brands will be looking for curation of that nature to actually position themselves in people's mind. Because one of the risks of doing that kind of thing is you may come up with a nice picture every day, but what's going to remain in people's mind? Is it you? Is it just a friend that posted this nice picture? Do you remember the link with the brand? So I think we need to craft that a little more, but it's probably an interesting future project.
So, and all these different campaigns or initiatives you've started with Evian, you're now trying to help the whole group do more things on digital and try to dare more the gut, for example. So how do you do that? How do you speak with all these marketers and brand managers that have not been raised with digital and that have to embrace it?
I think, first of all, you cannot do that on a large scale just by yourself. I mean, but there are many people in most companies that are digital experts that feel sometimes a bit lonely because whatever they do, they're being told, okay, that's nice, but remember, you have a real job on the other side. What I've done in the central team of Danone Digital is I've gathered the main people that are in this situation to get their minds together. And we're trying to build what does not exist. So if we need different ways to listen to consumers on the web, well, we're going to build the tool, we're going to do the brief, we're going to pitch, we're going to find the best supplier, create the process and all of that. That's the kind of thing we do. But sometimes we also do projects. And actually, we hired these people that sometimes I don't even understand because they're from a different age. I like to say that I'm from the acetate age. We were doing presentations with acetates and trying to hide part of it with a piece of paper. Well, obviously, they're from the digital age, so I don't always understand them. But sometimes they come up with these crazy ideas. And I think one of the things we do as a central team is we try to do or make things happen, specifically things that cannot happen in a given country or in a given division. So, for instance, one of them came up recently with an app that he absolutely loved on babies. And he said, well, this is a great app, and we could actually use that in the water division for a brand like Evian, and also in the baby division on brands like Bledina or others. And in many countries, I look at it and we think, wow, this is great. And then he says, what if we bought it? Buying an app? Well, why not? So we start engaging into a discussion, and we actually bought the app. We actually bought time from the developer, and we're working with him to actually craft that so that it serves our businesses in France, but maybe in Holland, in other countries. And we're going to make that work to the best we can, and then give it to the businesses for them to actually push it further. And that's the kind of thing I like, because here it's really, I know it's about looking at what startups do. We're going to do something, and then we're going to learn by doing it, and we'll push it further. And if it works, you know what, maybe we have a business.
So that's perfect transition, because here at LeWeb', there are a lot of startups. So what do you learn from startups on one side, and what will you advise to startups to learn from what you're doing as a big brand on digital?
Well, I think there are lots of things we can learn from startups. I think, first of all, very often they start with intuition. There's an intuition, and you're going to follow it regardless of whether you have 200 pages of research to back it up. You follow your intuition, and then you're going to try, And if it doesn't work, you're going to try again and again and again. You're going to be relentless because you think it's going to work. And then eventually, it works or it doesn't, and you move to something else. I'd like us to have the same kind of spirit. So that's the kind of thing that we're trying to do, and the spirit of entrepreneurship that very often is missing in large corporations. But there are many people that have that in them, and they try to keep that on the side while they do their job. Well, if they can use that, leverage that, and contribute, then it's fantastic. So that's what we're trying to learn from them. Then I think, we try to work with them. When I give you this example of the application, obviously, it's going to be hand-in-hand work with them and see how it goes. So we try to add the muscle that a big group can have to the creativity and spirit of entrepreneurship that they can have to create business.
And I've also heard that you have an interesting program at Danone where you push your own employees to leave your company and start businesses. Is that right? Like, kind of where you really want your employees to be able to become an entrepreneur, and you have some people. I don't know if it's your part. It was not scheduled here, but
it's not exactly my part. But yes, that is a way of
empowering people.
Empowering
to start
people, and trying. I have some pride in the fact that the only 2 people that left my team, my Evian central team, one became a rock star. He's a bass player in a group. The other one went back to school to become a psychologist. Now, it's not very common. Usually when people leave, they leave to go and work for your competitor or for a different company that does pretty much the same. Here, we try to get talents, and I think the logic behind the talent is that there's something burning inside, and sometimes it's not exactly what they're doing here. It might be something else. If they can achieve what they want that way, then as I said, I'm very proud of that. Actually,
very happy. So let's talk about the future a little bit. And I know you don't know what the future will be, but we'd like to have your opinion on that. How do you see technology will continuously change your business, and what do you see as an opportunity or a challenge for you?
Well, I think when you're talking about how technology will change your business, I think there's a huge change in paradigm. I used to be in a world, probably not you, you're too young for that, too much hair, where actually the big changes were coming from big companies, big players first, and then you were getting them as an individual. Your first printer in a company probably was at the company before you had one at home. And the thing that makes it very, very hard to predict the trends is that this has completely been reversed. If you look at it, all the new things are not coming from individuals. You have probably a better computer at home than you have one at work. Everything, the apps that you're using and all of that, usually at some point you turn to the IT department and you say, can I have that on my office computer? So the big shifts are not coming from the big players anymore. They're coming from the individuals, which makes it extremely hard to predict. So I think all we can do at that stage is remain very agile. We have this expression at Danone, which is a jeu de jambes. So translate that as you wish. I won't try to. I tried 20 times.
I cannot.
But it's about being agile and being able to change ways according to the context. And I think we're going to have to be that way.
You at Danone, you sell products like FMCG products. Do you think technology will enter these products? Like will we have connected yogurts or connected water bottles, all this kind of or is it science fiction, or will the Internet of Things impact your business?
I don't think it's science fiction. You may look. We've created something in France called Evian chez vous, where we deliver Evian at home, and we came up with this idea. Actually, an agency came up with this idea of a drop that you put on the fridge, so you can actually order your packs of Evian just by clicking a few keys. And fact of the matter, we thought it was science fiction. And it's actually now reality. It'll start, I think, January 6th, or we'll have the first finalized prototype. So to say that there won't be any connected yogurts, I don't want to say that because I really don't know. I think we'll figure it out 2 or 3 years down the road. Okay. I think clearly there's a role for connection between individuals, products, way beyond what exists today. Okay.
And what about digital marketing in the future? Will your clients be empowered even more than now? Will they define what will be your strategy on the product side? What is the future of digital marketing? You're a marketer, so what do you see? I mean, you explained that you want to, your people will test things at home and then bring it back to the enterprise. But then on the marketing side, what's your opinion on that?
I mean, there's this big debate: is there digital marketing? Is marketing turning? I think clearly today there are digital marketeers because we need to catch up. I think tomorrow marketeers, by definition, will be digital. I mean, it's not only digital. Digital is a portion of the whole thing, but everyone will be into digital. And so I think, I mean, when it comes to consumers, obviously, if marketing is all about understanding the insights, understanding the trends and all of that, being able to reach people, being able to tell the story of your brand, and then being able to convert that into sales, I mean, obviously, digital will play a bigger and bigger and bigger role in the future. And I think, but that moment in time where we are, where we need digital agencies, where we need digital experts, where probably 5 years down the road, we won't even be talking about that, because either you will be digital or you won't be anymore.
And you will be on the side then.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, it's already the end of this session. But before that, again, because we have startups here or that will be looking at the video, will you have kind of an incubator for startups at Danone? Is this something that might come?
I can't really say, but what we're doing, I gave you the example of the smart drop. I gave you the example of this application for baby. I mean, it's obviously something completely new for us. We didn't know we would do that 3 months ago. Is it the start of something new? It could be. Could very well be. We could have more projects like that and at some point decide that it's worth having a full business unit or something handling that. I don't know. To be honest, again, at this moment, we know that we want to transform, and we know that digital is a good tool to transform mindsets and organizations and processes. Where it leads, I think, time will tell.
Michael, thank you very much for this conversation.
My pleasure.
Thank you.